All right. Looks like we're going live. Hello. Happy Friday, everyone. Good morning. It's Friday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific time. I'm Jeff Klubeck. Welcome to the second installment of Get a Clue in 52. This is something that I've been doing for a couple of years now, in fact. And it started way back when. I'm going to go through the progression real quick. It's basically just a tip reading series. And what I want to start to tell you is that this is the original Get a Clue in 52 book. It had 5 categories. The categories were communication, networking, marketing, sales, and accountability. And I wrote it in 2019, but in 2020, I decided since there's 52 tips, it sets up as a marketing piece to be able to read one tip every single week. So I would come onto Zoom and read a tip and stream it into a Facebook group that I created. So if you're a Facebook person and you want to check out the Get a Clue in 52 Facebook group, it's there. And we streamed all 52 sessions in there. And interestingly enough, that's when I found all the mistakes in the book, of course. And then I found a better editor, better formatter, better support for self-publishing. And we came out with this second edition of the same book, but it was cleaned up and better branded. And in 2021, I read the tips all over again. But at that time, I streamed them into my YouTube channel, which is Watch Get a Clue. All one word, Watch Get a Clue on the YouTube side. And I'm really proud of this book, Get a Clue in 52. Same book, but it was cleaned up and it was better. Along the way, a client of mine was like, "Hey, I want to write a book. I've got some tips in mind. I could use your help. How did you do that?" And we got to working and collaborating, and I was very supportive for my client Vipul Dayal for his book, Give Your Way to the Top, which is an absolutely fantastic book. I put a lot into it and supported him a lot. And so obviously I'm not just, like self-promoting myself and my client, but the thing is, the category in this book is chronologically organized. The categories: give your way to the top. It started off in learning how to receive, right? Like when we're 0 to 18 years old, we learn how to receive. And then the next category is we learn how to produce. We become productive members of society from 18 on. If we get good at what we do in our production, we become leaders. So we know how to lead others in their production. That was the third category. Then the fourth category was protect. Once all of this production and leadership and accumulation of accomplishments and wealth and successes and stories, now it's time to protect yourself, protect your health, protect your mindset. And then the final category, of course, is to give. Right. So the last tips all end up with giving. Let me go ahead and welcome. I see a couple people coming on board here that I wanted to say hello. Hang on. Let me add. Hello, Patty and Sue. How are you? I'm in the introductory moments here. Welcome to Get a Clue in 52. I was just mentioning the chronology that we started with this book and found all the mistakes in 2020. And then we went on and cleaned it up and streamed all of the same tips into a different social media channel. And then I helped Vipul get his 52 tip book going. And we got on every Tuesday night and would read a tip from his book. And then it was kind of interesting. In between, I put out this little thing called the Integrity Game, which I'm not even going to talk about today. I'm not even going to talk about the Integrity Game because I spent plenty of time talking about the Integrity Game. This is about Get a Clue in 52. But when Vipul got done reading his tips book, and then I got done with the second year of reading my tips book, we were looking at each other like, what do we do now? So what we did was we came up with another installment or another edition of Get a Clue in 52, but it was a co-branded joint ventured project where we were both co-authors of the same book. We just changed a couple of pieces so that he could promote it in his brand and I could promote it in my brand. But we went on every Tuesday night last year in 2022, and we did a tip reading, and we did from 8 to 8:30 p.m. and I would stream it into my social, and then from 8:30 to 9 we would stream into his social. So it's been this rhythm, and it's I don't know. Is it fair to say that I'm addicted now? I'm not sure. But here's what I did: is I went ahead and wrote another one. Right, Get a Clue in 52, and thanks for allowing me to humor myself in those introductory remarks. But this is what we're going to do this year, and I'm streaming into a new social media channel for the very first time, LinkedIn. And I had to adopt StreamYard and learn the technology. I also had to write and publish the book, which I did at the end of last year. And I'm just really excited for this piece. I mean, there's so many coaches in the world. Coaching has been such an amazingly emergent profession or practice, but there's a lot of misnomers. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of smoke and mirror, if you will, for lack of a better word. There's a lot of service providers that are providing services for coaches. There's a lot of coaches that don't know where to turn, don't know where to go. Most coaches are solopreneurs, myself included. And that's the name of the book, Get a Clue in 52 for Coaches, myself included. So the idea, the 5 categories in this one are self-promotion, which we're in right now. We're going to do tip number 2 of the book is self-promotion today. But it goes kind of chronologically, like self-promotion and then engagement. Like, how do we enroll clients in coaching? I'm going to talk to you, down later on in the year. We've got all of those tips about enrollment and engagement, getting people enrolled, getting people engaged, getting people bought in, getting permission to lead, permission to coach, getting clients, whatever context you're in, either in an organization, right, or in a private practice. I see Margot's coming on board too. This is so cool. All right.
Hi.
Here we go. Hey, Margot, welcome. I'm just doing some introductory remarks here. It's going to be a treat to introduce you to Patty Blakesley and Sue Mathiasen. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Sue. I'm sorry. From all the way from Australia, by the way. But I just Sue. She's just Sue to me, right? So did I pronounce that correctly, by the way, Sue?
No, it's actually, it's Matheson.
Matheson. Okay. All right. Matheson. Silent E there. Anyway, I digress. Or IE combo. But here we go. I was doing the review and now I'm into it. I'm introducing Get a Clue in 52. Last week was the first tip. Today is tip 2. And we're just going to go every Friday on Friday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here through StreamYard. I'm going to stream it into 3 channels. As a matter of fact, it's exciting. So we're doing this on LinkedIn. We're streaming it into my YouTube channel, Watch Get a Clue, all one word. And then we're streaming into the Facebook group, the original Facebook group that has now 3 years worth of Get a Clue in 52 tips. All right, 2 years, they were the same tip, but last year, anyway. So this is fun. And this is a neat project for me because it integrates a lot of things that I'm doing. It's kind of like mentoring other coaches, but it's like memoir. As I was writing this, I was remembering all of the struggles and the confusion and the bouts of loneliness and fatigue, like pushing the boulder uphill, trying to get my coaching practice off the ground. And is this a business? Is this a practice? Is this a lifestyle, income earning hobby? Like, what am I doing? And if not for the supportive spouse in my world, I might have given up, right? And it's hard to become a coach. And that's why, the dedication in the book is dedicated to the Klubeck family. I jokingly said I dedicate this book to myself. And it's kind of funny when you read that. But I just talk about the struggles. The struggle is real. Being a coach is hard, and growing a coaching practice is harder. And growing a practice into a business is even harder. And doing that through and after the pandemic is even harder. Anyway, so I dedicate this to myself. I've overcome a lot, and I've persevered, and I've grinded to get to where I am now. And I still am not even where I want to be. And that's the whole thing. Like 15 years into the game, I have a lot to give to other people that are emerging in this practice, this profession, this service, right? But I have a lot to learn too. And so I'm going to be as viable as I'm going to be vulnerable in these weeks. I'm going to be raw. I'm going to be my autobiographical stream of consciousness voice. I'm going to be jovial. And along the way, I hope I'm going to be of value. But before I do anything else, the serious truth is, without Marianne and the kids, I wouldn't be here. That's all there is to it. So this is always dedicated to Marianne and the kids. Everything I do is. And I want to give a special shout out to the author of the foreword for the book, Troy Hoffman. He's somebody that I coached many years ago. He grew up in personal and professional growth, all the seminars, all of the books, all the tapes. He was smart. He was, innovative. He would not just go to the seminar, but he'd find the organizer and say, "Hey, do you want me to pick up the speaker from the airport and bring him to the event?" It's like, "Who are you, kid?" And he was just this hungry kid that was thirsty to learn and wanted to get the edge. And, we could talk about his entrepreneurial exploits as a 12-year-old, all the way to, his craftiness and soaking up all the personal professional growth he could. But I was his first actual one-on-one coach. I was the first person to confront him, right, in real time, on the dialogues, the patterns, the habits, etc. And then, of course, he was already way more successful, in my opinion, than I was. So here I was, again, looking up to somebody that I respect a great deal, thinking, how am I going to coach this person? How am I going to provide value to this person? I respect this person. They've done more than I have. How am I going to? But the truth is, I've learned coaching more than other people have. So that's what I've done better than everybody else, right? I've got a master's degree in community. You never sell yourself short in what you bring into the table, right? So it worked. And I made an impression on him. And when I said, "Hey, man, I'm writing this book, would you be willing to do the forward?" He stopped everything and he was up all night reading the book and writing the forward. So shout out to Troy Hoffman, founder of Simpluris, which is a technology-based class action lawsuit firm. They administrate class action lawsuits, heavy tech based, and streamline the process. And it's an incredible business that runs on its own. And now he's like a fractional founder helping other people get their businesses going and on and on and on. So hats off to Troy Hoffman. He means a lot to me, and it's really amazing to know that I mean a lot to him too. And then we get into, self-promotion. The first category of the book is self-promotion. And last week's tip, as a matter of review, is start calling yourself a coach. You got to start somewhere. And I'm not going to read this tip word for word because I did that last week, but I remember fondly in the role plays in my when I was doing coaches training sessions and the live sessions, when the leader of the training would say, all right, let's do role plays now. Who wants to be the coach and who wants to be the client? And I'm like, uh-oh. And then before I would get chills right now. It's like, before I could even speak, it's like, all right, Jeff, you be the coach. And I'm like, that didn't bother me. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to try this. I'm ready. I'm willing to be vulnerable. That's the definition of love. And I got plenty of that. The willingness to be vulnerable and plenty of love. I got that going for me. So I'm willing to do this. But then something really crazy happened. He said, all right, Coach Jeffrey. And I went, what? Who the hell are you talking to? Coach Jeffrey, who's that? Oh, he's talking about me. Coach Jeffrey. The first time I ever heard it, there was a resistance or an ignorance to it. And I'm telling you right now, you got to get comfortable with it. You have to see yourself as a coach, at least one of your identities. As I'm going to progress in these tips, there's a first time you call yourself a coach. There's an important time to call yourself a coach. There are times where you're going to need to call yourself a coach and see yourself as a coach. And when you start that's tip number 1 in the book. That was last week. So that brings us to today, tip number 2, which is on page 29 if you're following along at home. And if you get the book on Amazon, it's very, very inexpensive right now. It's this year's price, $20.23. Available on Amazon. And I'm going to go ahead and read word for word, if you guys don't mind. Tip number 2, we get a clue in 52 for coaches, myself included. Tip number 2 in the book overall in self-promotion. Only call yourself a coach when ... Now that you have started seeing yourself as a coach and embracing that piece of your identity internally, the next tip we have in self-promotion is to only call yourself a coach externally ... 1, when you are talking to another coach. 2, when you're talking to someone that understands what parentheses non-athletic coaching actually is. Ideally, they are looking for a coach or express a genuine interest in coaching, parentheses, wanting to know / learn what a coach does. Or 3, when you are needing some coaching for yourself and calling yourself a coach is in order. I entertain myself on these. It's very funny, right? Hey, have you called yourself a coach lately? Here's my number. Anyway, I digress. Sure, exceptions may apply, but the essence of this tip is to be very selective about when you're referring to yourself as a coach, because the autobiographical experience of wanting to be a coach, learning to be a coach, and all the work, vulnerability you have gone through to finally be a coach is still an autobiographical experience. You must make sure that calling yourself a coach is relevant to the person you're talking to. While most people in the world will tell you that they really care about others, parentheses, and that is certainly true for coaches, in parentheses, most people really mostly care about themselves. First of all, there is no helping others that does not benefit oneself, at least emotionally. But more importantly and more honestly, WIFM, WIIFM. WIFM is the automatic calculation that everybody is making in their own mind. Like it or not, what is in it for me is what we are all asking ourselves and speaking into with others. So I close this tip with this book's first reference of what is sure to be many, to the curse of knowledge, which is where we are so familiar with something that we've forgotten what it's like not to know. The curse of knowledge then has us commuting only with terms, phrases, examples, words, concepts, and knowings that we as coaches have embraced as part of our identity and seem matter of fact to us. While to others, we are in our own head, our own world, detached from their reality, which detaches us from relatability. If telling someone who doesn't care what coaching is that you happen to be one is bad, I'm sorry, I'm to entertain myself. Thank you, Patty, for your last years. Oh, I love your. Here we go. I'm going to say this again, right? if telling someone who doesn't care what coaching is that you happen to be one is bad, doing so with jargon from your training will be exponentially worse. All right, there you have it. Tip number 2. So tip number 1 is start calling yourself a coach. Tip number 2 is only call yourself a coach when it's relevant to the other person. With 15 minutes or so left in this morning's session, can I invite you guys to open up your microphones and share some comments on what we're doing right here? How's the tip? Margot, Sue, Patty, it's so great to see you guys. It's discussion time. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear
Margot.
me, Jeff?
Yeah, loud and clear. Hi, Margot. Nice to see you.
I really like tip 2. I think that we often, those of us who've been coaching for a while, often get stuck in the jargon because it is something that is so familiar to us. We read about it, we talk with other coaches about it, and so sometimes it enters our vocabulary when we're talking to people who are obviously less well informed about the coaching world and lexicon, if you will. So I agree that this is something that we need to be mindful of, and it's a good tip. Thanks.
Well, thank you for that feedback. And this is Get a Clue in 52 for coaches, myself included. And like I said, it's a pretty good tip, right? But only when I went through the pain of writing it and realizing how many friends, family members, colleagues, community, it's like if I'm at Little League Baseball, with some baseball dads, I may have some coaching insight. I might have some perspective on what's going on, but they don't care. And so there's other contexts where I've embarrassed myself, in this regard, where I've been so excited. I've been so pumped up. I have had such command of the material and such a confidence for being able to change people's lives that I failed to see outside and beyond that curse of knowledge, the blessing and the curse. Thank God I could do it, but hang on a second. I should only be communicating these things when it's relevant and viable, when I'm asked, when I'm like those 3 pieces up at the front. So that's great feedback. Patty and Sue, for those of you that don't know, Margot is the Vice President of Programs for the Professional Coaches Alliance. And let me just post a comment here. She invited me to do a presentation for the Professional Coaches Alliance last year on the integrity game. And I was like, who is this amazingly graceful, classy, seasoned, professional, charming lady?
More.
She's like, no. Who is this woman that is like so effortless and graceful and smooth and like, hi, this is what we're doing. Sure, I'd love to. Okay, here's how it works. Okay, that sounds great. What's the next step? And next thing I know, it was one of the smoother experience I've ever had being a guest presenting anything anywhere. And next thing I know, I'm Vice President of Communication for the Professional Coaches Alliance. So how did that work?
Oh, yeah. just rope them in.
Yeah. Well, the idea is what you seek is seeking you. And, hang on, there's somebody knocking on my front door. Of course. Hang on one second. It's only when you want to do a live stream that these things happen. Hi, come on in. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
oh, geez. I thought you were.
It's all good.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I'll set them right here.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, FedEx person.
You're welcome.
Hey, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. Oh, sorry. Wouldn't that be, by the way, I wish we could recreate that next week, but have them give me like $10,000 for the spot. You know what I'm saying? That would be cool. Just have FedEx come in and deliver a package at 9:18 every morning. All right. I digress. Go with the flow. The show must go on. Be a professional. The show must go on. So the truth is, Get a Clue in 52 syncs up with what I'm doing with the Professional Coaches Alliance, which syncs up with what I did last year with California Coaches. I joined this organization because I was also enamored with the grace, the class, the polish, the seasoned professionalism of a woman named Kimberly Arago, who is the first lead testimonial in the book. Kimberly Arago, she recruited me to join the organization, recruited me to be on the board, and then asked me to take over for her when she stepped down and kind of spearhead or drive or lead a merger between California Coaches and the Professional Coaches Alliance here in San Diego. Why? Because the missions of the organizations are the same. It's not to teach you coaching skills the way the International Coach Federation and so many others would. It's to help you build your practice. And I call it a practice. I argue with Dr. Tom Teague over this. He says, build your coaching business. I'm like, let's get honest and just call it what it is. It's a practice. I'm going to talk about more of that in tips 3, 4, 5 as we progress. But the bottom line is we do want to help coaches. We do believe in coaching. We do know the difference between a coach and a consultant, right? Coaching is we talk and then you go do the work. But a consultant is I'm going to do the work and deliver. We do know the difference between a coach and a trainer, right? A trainer needs to make sure that you have competency to do something after the training that you couldn't do before. The coach isn't really focused on that. The coach is focused on you achieving goals, however you get there, whatever strategy that you use. Coach isn't friendship, right? Like, it's so funny. How do you guys feel about, I'm going to get an accountability partner? Wait a second. Why get an accountability partner that's a friend where you got it's so funny. Has there ever been a professional association of friends? What's the standard? What's the regulating? What are the ethics of friendship? Because most friends I've had in my life, much as they love you, they're the ones you got to watch. Anyway, no, I digress. Like, really, a friend has their own interests in mind. And if you want an accountability partner, coaching is different than friendship. You can become friends with the coach. You can be friendly with, like, some of my favorite people in the world were clients of mine, and now we know we're going to be friends for life and so forth. But it's not, it's not consulting. It's not training. It's not friendship. Coaching is a very, very, very special service, and done well.
And it's not therapy.
It's not there. Here you go. You set me up. Are you ready? A therapist, their promise is to take you into the past to heal some sort of wound. But a coach promises to take you into the future despite your wounds. Right? So there's an intersection there, but we never claim that we're going to heal your wound. We do claim that despite your wounds, you can still get whatever life, business, or career you want. Hey, how does that go? Right? And it's not mentoring either. Coaching isn't mentoring. Like, if I'm going to mentor you, then I'm going to make sure that you're able to do exactly what I do. But if I'm going to coach you, I'm going to help you get done whatever you want to do, regardless of whether I've done it or not. Like, there's a lot of people out there that say, well, I want a coach that's done it. I want, like a real estate agent will say, I want somebody to coach me that's done it in real estate. Well, guess what? Here's the sad truth. Anybody that's made a fortune in real estate, they're not stopping from that fortune to go coach you for $200 an hour, right? They're going to keep doing what they did. A coach is a coach because they know coaching. They know how to get you engaged. They know how to get you motivated and out of your own way, and they know how to hold you accountable in ways a mentor never would. It doesn't matter if somebody made $6 million doing a thing. I love that too, Margot. Do you ever get these when they say, well, I fired my client because they were wasting my time because I told them what to do and they weren't doing it, so I fired them because they're wasting my time. That's not a coach. No offense, that's an egomaniac who got really good at doing something and doesn't have any coaches training to understand that different people get it different ways and that there may be another path that this person needs to take. Like, why aren't they doing it? Get them out of their own way or give them a strategy that matches their behavioral style instead of egomaniacking all over our industry. Thank you. Oh, I digress. Am I getting a little too protective of the coaching profession? Let me take a deep breath. Patty and Sue are wonderful women that I've met in another organization. I had an independent contract with a coaching organization many years ago. And it's nice that, I haven't been with that organization in the amount of time required by contract. But, like, bottom line is service providers, you follow the service provider. A lot of times these relationships, you follow the person more so than a brand or an org. And the truth is that they're astute observers of personal and professional growth, hungry and thirsty. And I'm not the only person that they get it from. They've got a library of investments in themselves through personal and professional growth. They just like my style. So Patty and Sue, it's a treat to introduce you to Margot Garcia, who I'm professionally colleaguing with. And I'd like to hear your voices on this live stream. Thank you for joining. How are you guys?
Good. I just want to congratulate Margot for recognizing Jeff. His talent, because that speaks volumes to me about you and your organization.
Well, thank you.
Wow, I didn't expect that one. Okay, here. And Sue. Oh, go ahead, Patty. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say on this tip, my mind was kind of going, I wonder how many opportunities I might have lost by not saying I was a coach. And, that's what kind of came to mind to me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like when it's appropriate, like if you're listening for, this when you're listening, if it basically says, well, how, the training that I offer on my coaching and leadership training, it's like people will say, well, Jeff, I do 2 complimentary sessions. That's what I created, is 2 sessions instead of 1. And I'm going to talk about that later on in the book. Right. But people would say, Jeff, how do you know when to offer the 2 sessions? And it's like so funny, right? I have a detailed response to that. But the funny response is, well, when somebody complains about something.
Exactly.
Like, what? Like, oh, insert complaint here. It's like, oh, well, are you talking with a coach about that? Because I'd love to offer you 2 complimentary coaching sessions so you can visualize how you could resolve that instead of just complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
You only get the second one if you like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to go into all of the strategy and all the communication that I built into how and why I offer and conduct the 2 sessions. But Patty, to your point, and maybe it's something that I could have added here, 4th, right, is you have to listen to people complaining. And that is a good time to let people know that you're a coach. And we don't want to waste opportunities. What you just mentioned reminds me of like the real estate agent that doesn't want to bother their neighbor.
Mm-hmm. It
doesn't want to be pushy, but comes out to their car one morning and sees a sign in their neighbor's lawn from another real estate agent. And they, oh, how did you, you were neighbors. How could you go list with somebody else? It's not the neighbor's fault. It's ours for not self-promoting. So I like what you're saying here, Patty, and that I'm sitting here saying, hey, be careful about when you do it, but you're taking that and turning it around and saying, all right, I want to be very careful about when I do it and make sure I'm doing it when I'm supposed to. But the tip today is to not do it when it's not relevant. So we want to be listening for people complaining, people in pain, people that have hopes, wishes, and dreams, people that have any level of dissatisfaction at present with life, career, or business. And that's always a good time to say or ask, hey, are you working with a coach? Have you ever gotten coaching around that? What are you doing to resolve that? Or, what are you doing to get off that nail or bite that carrot? Well, I don't know. Why do you ask? Well, because, right?
I'm a coach.
Yeah, I'm a coach. What else? Sue, what do you got? You got a comment or question? You want to say hello and introduce yourself to Margot?
Yeah. So, great to meet you, and I'm really been halfway around the world, interested to see what's happening more at a coaching organizational level, and seeing Jeff get involved and tracking that journey. So that's exciting to be sort of, I guess, connected with that from a distance. On this tip, I think it's a really great reminder for me as well to, as Jeff was just saying, to be listening for those opportunities. But I think you can only do that well when you know what you can provide.
Mm-hmm.
When you are confident that this is the way that I can help someone, so that when you hear that comment, that complaint, that pain, you can tune in really quickly to go, well, hang on, I can help you because I know that I can take you from where you are now to where you might want to go. And I think that helps. It's that integration of knowing what you can offer, what you provide, that helps you to tune into that awareness and being able to confidently come into the conversation and say, or ask the question, would you like some help? Would you be interested in, as Jeff said, 2 sessions? Because this is what I can do for you.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I mean, this is, the some of this book, the middle sections of this book, the categories of motivation and accountability, that's a lot of how to coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of how to. And you're absolutely right. When I knew, like, oh my God, if I could just provide a strategy, get people out of their own way and take them through, get permission to hold them accountable, and then have structured dialogues and have a willingness to confront in a powerful and graceful way, then I should be fearless and unbridled in my self-promotion now. Right. So arriving at the confidence in what you can deliver, but it's knowing how to coach. I think I'd like to do yes and here, Sue. which is where we're going to get to in the second section of the book, is knowing how to sell coaching. Let's be honest. Like, you got to be able to sell it. If you don't, like, I'm going somewhere in here. It's like, if, you know, the tree falls down in the forest and nobody hears it, doesn't really make a sound, right? And if nobody hires you for coaching, are you really a coach? So we have to learn how to sell. We have to have a confidence that, hey, look, if I can, and I'm going to get into this down the road, but if I can give somebody a really adequate little pink spoon, as I call it, a little Baskin Robbins using a little pink spoon, somebody get a real taste. And that's why, by the way, I'm going to preview this. That's why these people that go out for one session, they're struggling, right? Because if you offer, let me give you a complimentary coaching session, now the person knows that it's a veiled sales pitch. They know somewhere in that session they're going to say, do you want to hire me for your coach, right? So they come up with their guard up, waiting for the pitch, and no real coaching happens. And number two, if you're a coach promising accountability, like, accountability, you haven't given them a little pink spoon unless you've held them accountable to something. So by definition, you have to give 2 sessions. Let me build enough rapport to get you're trusting me to make a commitment in this section. And then in the second session, I'm going to say yes or no. Did you do it or not? And then you will have had a like, if you go to get a little pink spoon of Rocky Road and there's not a marshmallow in that scoop, did you really get a taste of Rocky Road? Okay. So what I'm getting at is I've got a lot to say about not just the confidence for being able to coach somebody. And there's a lot of coaches out there that are great coaches, but they haven't won the game of enrollment. They haven't figured out how to enroll. So what they want to do is go to a coaching organization and be assigned, and they get coaching assignments assigned to them. But now they're coaching for 25, 50, 75 bucks a session. And they find out in the coaching relationship what these people paid to be in the program. And they go, what the hell is wrong here? If they paid 10 grand and I'm getting 75 bucks, there's a problem. And then things become out of integrity, right? Never mind the tail between the person's legs who's only getting $75 for an hour to coach a millionaire or an entrepreneur or what have you, right? So anything that's out of integrity invites everything else to be out of integrity. And this isn't a plug. Well, yeah, it is for the integrity game. It's my other book. I have a lot to say about integrity.
That was seamless, by the way.
Thank you. I'm going to have a lot to say about integrity when we get to our chapter or section on accountability. So wait for it. We'll seed plant all the way through. But I'm moving at the 9:30 here. I don't have a hard stop like I did last week, but I'm going to move towards last call for comments, questions, anecdotes, jokes, etc. before I just do a couple of self-promoting items here. Any last on the topic itself of only call yourself a coach when you've verified on some level that it's relevant, that whoever you're calling a coach to cares, is interested, is looking for a coach, is complained about something, have a reason. Don't just talk about it autobiographically and expect people to stop their stream of consciousness about what they really care about to get fully into that the way that you do. I've made those mistakes, and I probably might still make, I don't know, right? I've probably told a lot of people about teaching at San Diego State that don't care, but I'm super excited about it. Anyway, I digress. Last call, comments, questions, jokes, etc. And then I'll just have a minute or two of promotional things to say, not very much. And by the way, Margot, would you, if you have it handy, if you have something like to post in the comment regarding Professional Coaches Alliance, do you have well, actually, why don't you, I'll look up the link and I'll post it in the comments.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have it handy, but I did want to ask Sue. So in Australia, are you part of a professional coaching group of any kind?
Not in Australia. No.
No. So, we at Professional Coaches Alliance, and I'm trying to figure out what the time difference is, but we offer a number of programs throughout the month that may be of interest to you, that may be of value to you. I'd love to have a conversation with you about being an international member.
Okay. Yes.
So I will put in the chat my contact information. And if you're interested, please, let's see, how do I do that? Comments? There we go. No, private chat. It's not letting me. Oh, here it is. Okay, hang on.
At Professional Coaches Alliance, we just like to call it PCA for short.
Yeah.
And that was just that was just a comment to take up 10 seconds while Margo was typing.
Thank you.
But I'm going to go ahead and here we go, you guys. For the stream that's going out there, is this showing up? Is the banner showing up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's there. Oh, wait, did I hide it? I'm still getting
Nope,
used
it's there.
Okay, so there's the, if it's very simple, professionalcoachesalliance.com, and it's the new PCA. I want you guys to know that when I started out as a coach, and I made my first money as a coach back in 2007 after having the C Corp for my business, Get a Klu, opened at the end of 2006 or whatever. I had no money for a year, and then I made my first money in 2007, and then I was ready to actually launch with my brand and my website and my logo and so forth after toiling for the first in 2007, 2008, but 2009, I launched onto the scene, so to speak. And a buddy of mine, Brian Trachel, shout out to Brian Trachel for any of you that need LinkedIn support. He's the master. And Brian Trachel said to me, hey, you should join the San Diego Professional Coaches Alliance. I'm like, what? And so he was involved helping out. And this is years ago, Margo. I think I've told you the story.
No, that's not a name I'm familiar with.
Yeah, Brian Trachel. But back when like Billy Francis was involved, and that's a name you're familiar with, right? Shout out to Billy.
Oh, absolutely.
Another powerful, classy, graceful, polished, seasoned woman, right? I'm attracting all of these, amazing women in my life. Thank God. And anyway, so in 2011, I gave a talk on how to do 2 complimentary coaching sessions to the San Diego Professional Coaches Alliance. And I had been involved, and I was on Coach Finders, and the client that I told you about, Vipul, who I co-authored, the last Get a Klu in 52 with, he found me on Coach Finder in 2015-ish, and he's been with me for 8 years now. And are you with me? And so it's an exciting place to be in a position to serve the board and to grow it with a, I don't know, you could tell me, Margo, what are we doing here? What are we infusing into this thing? What does it look like now that it's
a new energy?
Okay,
which is
thank
lovely.
you. Yeah, and it's well received and highly motivated by the path that you've shaped, and everything that I'm doing with PCA is easier when I'm collaborating with people like you, Margo. And we've experienced that so much. Everywhere we look, we keep on having wins, and it's just wonderful. So thank you so much for being here. Shout out to the Professional Coaches Alliance. And so it's integration, right? I needed another book if I wanted, I have this idea that I'm going to do one a year for 10 years or something. And I've been doing Cali Coaches. I know, because I could have done HR books, Margo. I could co-author a book with you, 52 tips that are all HR related. I already have them sketched out in my head if you want to talk down the road. I actually have 5 different HR books because there's so many HR tips, right? I could show you what that looks like, but I'm like, no, it's the perfect thing. Right now is the time to do one for coaches. And you can see, I love this cover. We've got a female and a person of color on the cover taking the journey. Like, I believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I spell inclusion K-L-U-I-N, inclusion, right? So we're having fun with all of these things because personal professional growth hard enough. Struggling and not having people to talk to is hard enough. Competing in this, dog eat dog world is hard enough. Like, getting out of bed and grinding is hard enough. Let's have some fun along the way. Let's hug each other digitally on these conferences. Let's put smiles on faces, and let's shape the path and have some fun along the way. So that's what you can expect from me on Get a Klu in 52 every week. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. We're going to be honest. We're going to package some confrontational truths in the Trojan horse of joviality and love and vulnerability. And that's what I'm doing in this book all year long. 2 down, 50 to go. Now,
one more question.
Yeah.
Patty, could you put your contact information in the chat so you and I can connect as well?
Sure, that would be great.
Fantastic. Now, my sprint to the finish line here is that I'm going to screen share just long enough to show people. What am I going to do? I'm going to screen share, pop. And we're going to share screen. Don't show these tips anymore. All right. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. Is that right?
No, not yet.
Okay, let's see here. Give me a second. I'm getting newly acclimated to this stuff. Okay. Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there we go. Share. So you guys can see my screen now. You can see the live stream in the screen.
Yes.
And it's going into the land of technology of reproduction. Okay. Like, I read a great story in college about technologies of reproduction, about the most famous the most photographed barn in the entire United States, and everybody all over the country would come and drive and stop and take pictures of the barn. And this one person wanted to go and take a picture of the most photographed barn in the United States. But when they got there were so many people taking pictures of it that all they could do was take pictures of the people taking pictures of the people taking pictures of the most photographed barn. All right. So can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. This is the Integrity Game Learning Library. And I was working really hard last year on doing a couple of things. Number one, the Integrity Game 90-Day Challenge is an online course, right? And it's got, it's done. You get 2 complimentary coaching sessions with an Integrity Game certified coach. You get the private Facebook group where I put all the bonus content. You get the Integrity Game workbook where you can take your notes into, and it forms your listening and frames your experience. And then all of these sessions, 13 weeks worth of sessions that took us to and through the 10 points on the Integrity Game. And so I had guest subject matter experts in. It's populating. Give it a second. I had guest subject matter experts in every week that would help me articulate the whatever point in the model that we were on. These sessions are fantastic, including the Admiral James McNeil, who wrote the foreword for the book. And so this is an evergreen group coaching program. We're going to run it again in the fall. So right now it's evergreen. You've got the sessions that are in there. It comes with all of those goodies. And then in the fall, we're going to do 12, 13 more sessions to just add and add and add. So it's like a purchase that you make, but it's kind of like a membership. Once you're in, you're going to get all of the goodies that we put into the Facebook group and all of the bonuses and stuff that we offer through the 90-day challenge. So I'm going to give you guys a discount code to that in just a second. And then we're building more courses like Confident Communicator and 8 Steps to Fearless Public Speaking and Strategic Staffing and how to read behavioral assessment graphs and how to be a confident candidate in the land of great resignation and Klu's Ooze, my group mentoring, all of which I'm going to talk about down the road. But for now, I want to tell you that we did complete the Smart Goal Setting course. It's $300. It's January. So in my opinion, if you're setting your Q1 goals in January, it's too late. But better late than never. And if you want to get some dialed in focused help on smart goal setting, we make smart smarter. You're just $300 away. But the truth is, I'm going to give everybody a discount code right now. And let me stop sharing screen. And so first of all, for the smart goal setting, let me show this right there. It's hopefully you can see it's TIG VIP 100, and it's just there's the URL. You can
we're not seeing
email
it.
me. Okay, let me try that again. How about now?
Yep.
So there's the code TIG VIP 100 for $100 off the Smart Goal Setting course. So it's 33% off for $200. You can hear everything I have to say about what prevents people from setting goals. One of the reasons is they don't know how. And then you can get into the how, that I've set goals for myself, how I've helped clients set goals. One of the reasons I've built my coaching practice to where it is right now is because of the foundational value of helping people get clear on who they are and what they want. So this goal setting piece is one of the things that's got me to where I am as a coach. I infused motivation and accountability that might have been missing from just regular SMART. So I added an A, changed the R. That is not a typo. There's another A and I changed the R. So if you want to find out what those differences are and how they make a difference in your productivity, then go ahead and take advantage of this offer to get into the Smart Goal Setting Workshop. And again, it's not done. Like we can always add more things. When we do a Smart Goal Setting Workshop prior to Q2, we'll record it and pop it into that membership site group. So you're going to continually get more value, et cetera, when you join that course. And then for the 90-day challenge, which is my, the Integrity Game 90-day challenge, I can't tell you how proud I am of it and how it came out. And maybe in a future session, I'll elaborate on it greatly. But for now, trust me. Anyway, it's a $500 program, right? $497, and you get $200 off with this code. And again, I put 12 Klubi snack videos in there at the end of the year, 12 days of Klubi and motivational Mondays and flyby coaching videos on flyby Fridays, in addition to the 13 live streams that serve as the vertebrae, the core central nervous system of the Integrity Game journey. So I wrote this book about a hot dog vendor who was taken through the journey by a season ticket holder. Then I took myself through it in the form of a group coaching program, and I can't wait for you to take the Integrity Game journey as well. If a building, bridge, or tunnel is not retrofit from time to time, it will crumble under pressure tests, and my argument is that so will individuals, teams, and organizations. So let's retrofit ourselves personally, professionally, and for our careers. And I'm giving you all of the discounts there to get that done. Now, having said all of that, welcome to Get a Clue in 52. Thank you guys for being here with me. This has been a lively session, and I love you all dearly. Go ahead and pick up your copy, and when somebody complains about something, recommend this book. Sue's got one all the way. See that? We're in it. We're international, Margot. The book exists. It lives and breathes all the way down under. All right, it's amazing. But down under, it looks like this. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. I love you guys. Happy Friday. We'll see you next week.
Nice to meet both of you. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Margot. Thank you, Jeff.
Bye, Margo. Nice